I'm Doug.
And I'm Cathy.
And this is Maggie Mae. Join us as we follow the moon. Join us today as we take you to Theodore Roosevelt National Park. This park has just a little bit of everything, and we recorded this for our family and friends because at the time we were there in May of 2024, we couldn't air national park videos on YouTube. That law changed the end of last year, so we're bringing this to you now. So we hope you enjoy our time that we spent at Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
Come along.
Well, we start off at the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and our beginning is actually just before you get there. 5 miles before the entrance to the south entrance, you come to the Painted Canyon Overlook. This is right off the interstate. It looks like a roadside rest, but this is the view you get.
It's so surprising because before you get to this area, it's pretty flat.
Yep.
And just all of a sudden you come over a hill and wow.
Yeah, you don't see any view like this. It's green, grassy pasture land. In fact, it's a national grasslands area. But you come over this one hill and this is the view that you've got. And this, what I said looks like a roadside rest, is actually run by the Park Service. And there are trails that go off from here. And it's a beautiful, beautiful area.
It just takes your breath away.
And it just lets you see the expanse of how big this area of Badlands is. There was a couple hiking on one of the trails, and they had to do a detour off the trail. We were watching them because this fellow was standing in the middle of the trail. Bison always has the right of way.
That's right.
Now, as you get to the entrance of the south entrance of the park, you come to the remains of the Demours packing plant. This was a French family that came to the United States and decided to put a packing facility here for cattle. Those pilings in the corners are where the ice house was, and then the packing plant on over there. All that remains today, really, besides those corners, is that huge big smokestack. So as you go on into the park now at the south unit, you start to see some beautiful views. Within a half mile into the park, you'll see this overlook. And by the way, when we stopped at the visitor center, we had a deer walk right past.
Yeah, just
so
casually.
There's nature everywhere in here. The amount of wildlife is just incredible, as you'll see. I was so glad Cathy had her camera with us because she got some incredible shots of the wildlife as we go through. So when you see the still shots, you can give her credit for that. Now, one of the next stops is the Skyline Vista, and if you look at the size of those hoof prints, you know the bison walk right along beside the sidewalk.
Oh yeah.
They follow the sidewalks and the trails.
They
It's
pretty much just go wherever they want.
yeah. Now there are bison out there on the ground out at the distance. And we were glad just to see them from a distance.
That's right.
You'll come to Peaceful Valley Ranch as you go through the south side of the park. And I will tell you, the south side is a loop. There is construction now that about 10 miles of the loop is closed, so you do circle around and come back. So allow a little extra time. We took 2 days in this park. We did the south loop one day, the north loop another. But that Peaceful Valley Ranch is all fenced off, but the buffalo kind of have free range of walking into the fence and walking out of the fence. So
yeah.
Now there's, I believe, 3 different prairie dog towns listed on the map as you go through the south loop. But it's not like you're going to see a couple of prairie dogs. There are little mounds out there.
Everywhere.
There must be thousands of them in each of those areas. I like that. Do not feed the prairie dogs. But they are all throughout there, and adults and little ones.
They are so cute.
And the sentries that are sitting there watching.
Oh, and they were watching for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have a good way of letting all the other ones know when there's somebody in the area that shouldn't be.
And all those mounds connect underground.
Now that guy they didn't think should be there.
That's right. They start their little barking.
But it is just covered with them. Also saw some wild horses.
They were beautiful.
And the views are just incredible. This is our first time in the Badlands area.
Yeah.
And absolutely incredible. Now the next one is called Wind Canyon. And you can look at that and kind of see how it gets its name. It looks very windswept. And it was sprinkling, so sorry about the water on the lens there. But we must have gotten sprinkles that lasted for a minute or two, 3 or 4 times while we were in, I think, both parks,
Yeah.
both days. They didn't last long. They didn't dampen the spirit. But you'll see the skies go from blue and sunny to darker and cloudy several times in the video as we go through here. But it lets you see some of these things in different light, and the formations are incredible.
And the clouds and all were incredible too, just from the storm. Luckily it was off in a distance.
Yeah, and it didn't hold us up any. We were very lucky. It seemed like as we were getting out of the car to either take a short hike down one of the trails or just to get some pictures, it would stop. We'd get back in the car, it'd start to sprinkle again, so.
I think there was one time that we kind of got wet.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for plastic bags for over the cameras.
That's right. But absolutely amazing views. Most of the park can be seen from the car and the pullouts. There are some nice hikes along the way, but if you don't feel like getting out and hiking, you can see just about everything.
Yeah, you can go and do as much as you feel like you're capable.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Boy Court overlook, there's 2 different sections here that we'll show you. But again, just a beautiful area. Most of these are, if there is a hike to them, are a quarter to maybe 4/10 of a mile. The Boy Court Trail is just down the road from that, and that trail does take you around the top of the canyon, and you get some absolutely incredible views. And again, that trail's all paved.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the ones that are trails are very, very easy, very friendly. Now the next stop was Buck Hill. And Buck Hill has got some amazing views. This area, you can come up on top of the hill where I was at there. You'll see those across the way on the next hill, and that was a couple bison laying up there right along the trail.
You do have to be really careful and hang on to your kids.
Yeah. I will hand it to this park. There are some absolutely incredible, epic views. Coal Vein Trail. This is a dirt road, but it's a very easy, passable dirt road. And it's called Coal Vein because there is a vein of coal under the ground that caught fire in the 1950s and wasn't extinguished until the 1970s. He said there were places that you could look down in the ground and see the bright red of the coal on fire. Now we've left Coal Vein, we're back onto the main road, and you'll start to see some construction signs. If you take a look at the map of the park, you can get around to Coal Vein and I believe about 3 miles beyond it, and you'll come to this construction area. And at that point it is a turnaround. If you're in a larger vehicle, if you're taking your trailer or motorhome with you, really be careful back here. There is a turnaround, but it looked very wet because of the rains we've had, very muddy, and I wouldn't want it to have had to have used that as a turnaround. Yeah. You could go into that first driveway, you're better off. You go on down to where it's a loop, it's not as good. So we start to head back out. And just because you've driven through here once doesn't mean you've seen it all.
That's right.
The views are totally different on the way back.
It's a totally different perspective. And look at that sky, how it changed.
Mm-hmm.
Look in the other direction.
One thing I'll give you a heads up on with Theodore Roosevelt National Park, there are very few bathrooms. And there is a bathroom located about 3 or 4 miles from that construction. This is it right there. We had actually stopped and looked on the way back, went the 3 or 4 miles, and when we came back, there were 4 bison around the bathrooms. That guy was incredible.
It was very cool. I love that stance.
That one was just posing.
Yes.
And you could see the time of the year. This was right around the Memorial Day. In fact, this was the day before Memorial Day, and they were still just getting rid of their heavy coats. So we saw some beautiful scenery the first day. This is all from the south entrance. There you can see some buffalo there along the side. And we saw a lot of wildlife. The coyote, the prairie dogs, a lot of things that we've been looking for and haven't been seeing, we saw there. And the bison were incredible. They were all over the place. These guys, this was a great spot. They were walking along the side of the road. This is across the road from Peaceful Valley Ranch as we go back through. And they ended up and started walking right across the road in front of us to go back and get inside their corral.
Yeah, you don't have to tell them when they need to go home.
And when you're in the car with a telephoto lens, you can get some really nice close-ups of them too.
If you have a sunroof, you can climb out the top.
It's been done. And then we found this family of wild turkeys, and we had to stop in the middle of the road for them to pass. I didn't speed that up. That's how fast he was running across the road there. But they were beautiful. And there's a lot of wild turkeys up here in the Dakotas. The next day, which happened to be Memorial Day, We went up Route 85 to go to the north entrance. These are shots that we pulled off of Route 85 on the way to the park. Not even in the park yet.
It was like the earth just opened up.
And again, it wasn't this way up until we got to a little bit of a knoll on a curve, and as soon as we crested it, we saw all of this. And that's your view right from the highway. Now the north unit, they have a couple of like mobile buildings there. It doesn't have as much of a visitor center as what the south entrance does. It's a little bit smaller. It's a 14-mile, and it is a one-way drive through the park. There's a loop at the end, and then you drive back through. So this one is not designed as a loop. You do travel both directions through the park. But again, that suits us fine because of everything you see.
You might think 14 miles versus the 36 that the other one was would have been a lot shorter day, but it certainly wasn't.
No.
This runs all along the Little Missouri River too. Cuts through it.
And again, we weren't a mile into the park, and we're seeing our first bison of the day. This is one of the trails. I think there's a little bit more hike in this one than what there was in the other one. And this one's got a few other formations that you don't find in the south. So they're about 30 miles apart, but they're different as night and day.
Yeah. And yet 10 miles outside of the park is different.
Absolutely. And you do see a lot of B's and Class C's. Saw a couple of A's coming through here. This area was one of my favorite sites as far as the geology of the area. You see so many of these with these ridges. They look like tables going around it. But this is called the Cannonball Concretions, and it's called that because they look like cannonballs sticking out of the side of the rock, laying at the foot of the rock. They're round rock formations that look like they've been planted there, but they are actually inside the rock formation. It's absolutely amazing. And there's trails that go all the way around this formation. We're experiencing blue skies. We did have some short sprinkles while we were here also, but nothing that would slow you down. Now the Caprock Coulee Trailhead, again, beautiful area. We didn't take the longer hikes while we were there, and we weren't real sure what the weather was going to continue to do to hold up for us. As you can see, the sky's darkening there as I say that. This is the River Bend Overlook. This is supposed to be the most photographed area of North Dakota in the entire state.
I think there were 2 weather systems came through there at that point.
There were deer along the road.
And And their fur was thick and heavy.
Yeah, even compared to the deer I was used to seeing growing up in Ohio, they had a much heavier coat. Now this area is all formed from clay. And again, these views just right from the road as you go by are just incredible. Again, more bison right out along the road. What majestic animals. To think at one point they were just about extinct. We're so lucky to be able to see them now.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the 14 miles, you come to Oxbow Overlook.
And this was neat.
Yeah, there's a circle here that you can park around the circle, and you've got absolutely incredible views. The Little Missouri is down there, and the formation of the river is where the name comes from. It creates the oxbow like you see in the picture. From here we start our way back, and those bison that were just on the hill, just a couple of miles from the end, they're now down along the road.
I think he was scratching himself.
I think so. And again, it's the same land, but seeing it from the other side of the road and seeing it from the other direction makes such a difference.
Yeah.
I think I personally like the rock formations that we saw at the north unit, but we saw even more wildlife at the south unit.
Mm-hmm.
And it may have just been the day for that. Who knows?
It could have been, yeah.
But we really, really enjoyed Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
Yes, we did.
Well, Cathy, what did you think about Theodore Roosevelt National Park?
That was really beautiful. It was pretty cool.
There was so many things there, from when you first get to the park and you see the rest area, the viewing area. We saw our first bison of the year there.
Yep.
And then the remnants of the meat packing facility, the big chimneys and everything. Then the beautiful Badlands. And it was a neat little town. We didn't get to spend a lot of time there at that town, but it was a lot to see.
The whole area was really neat.
Absolutely.
And the Badlands are so otherworldly.
Yeah, they're like nothing I'd ever seen before at that point. So with that, if you've enjoyed our video today, leave us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. If you haven't already subscribed, watch for the dot up in that corner at the end of the video. When you tap that dot, you can subscribe, ring the notification bell, and that way you'll know when every one of our videos come out.
And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.